Hey guys, what's up? It's In Squared Sports back, and it's only half of In Squared today. It's just me. We're going to be talking about Russell Westbrook and the trade that just happened over the weekend. I know it's a little late, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it anyway. So, Russell Westbrook got traded to the Houston Rockets for Chris Paul over the weekend, and I'm going to talk about what I think this does for Houston, what it does for Oklahoma City, and what this means. So first, I'm going to talk about what does this mean for Houston. So Houston got a little younger with this move, not a whole lot, but Chris Paul is about 4 or 5 years older than Russell Westbrook. So I think just him being younger helps this team a little bit more, helps with their youth. Probably won't have the injury problems that they've had in years past with Chris Paul. And I think Russell Westbrook, he's a very durable player. He plays all 82 games. Most of his career, he's played all 82 games. So I think that helps. I think Houston now will have James and Russ together back again. They played together in OKC when they went to the finals. Yes, they had Kevin Durant on that team, but they still have played together. They're good friends. And I'm going to talk about whether I think it can work or not. So my second point I want to talk about, does this make them a championship contender? I think with Chris Paul they were a championship contender, and with Russell Westbrook I still think they are. Now it's a little different with Russell Westbrook because he's even more ball dominant than Chris Paul was, which most people didn't think that could happen, but it's true. He's more ball dominant, so there's going to be a lot of adjustments that they have to make, but I think they're good enough friends and good enough people that I think they can adjust. So, moving on to the Thunder side of things, what do the Thunder do with Chris Paul? Chris Paul is super old at this point. He's really washed up. You saw it last year in Houston. He's not the player he used to be. So, what do they do with him? I've heard reports recently that said they are okay with keeping him for this part of the season, maybe until the deadline if they can find a trade partner. And I think the reason they said that was because they can't find anybody who wants him at this point. They just can't. Nobody wants to take on that huge contract. He's going to be getting paid like 40 something million this year, and nobody wants to take on that contract, especially when he's a shell of himself. So I think they'll probably end up keeping him, and if they can get anything for him, if anybody offers them anything, they'll take it. But I think they're going to end up just stuck with him, and I think that also is why the Rockets made a good trade, because somebody took him. So somebody took him, and the Thunder now will have to deal with him. So can Russell Westbrook and James Harden work together? So I already mentioned a couple points on this, but I think because they are good friends, I think they can make it work. And also a point is that Russell Westbrook, this is the first team he's been on where he's had shooters around him. Westbrook is the kind of guy who's going to handle the ball a lot, but in OKC, when he would drive down the lane and pass it out, those shooters, they're not good shooters that he had there. With the Rockets, he has good shooters all over the place. So when he drives the lane, no matter who he kicks it to, they're going to be able to knock down a three. And that didn't happen in OKC. So I think with the Rockets, he's going to love that he has teammates that can knock down threes, so he can do what he does well and kick it out and still have success. So I think that's a huge point that not a lot of people talk about. Also, people say that Russ and James Harden are both ball dominant players. Yeah, they're ball dominant, but they combined have led the league in assists the last 3 years. James Harden 2 years ago and Russell Westbrook the last 2 years. They've led the league in assists with 10 plus assists. Harden had 11, averaged like 11 3 years ago, and Russ has averaged close to 11 the last two. So that's a huge point that I think, yeah, they might be ball dominant, but they pass a lot more. It's hard to get 10 assists average for an entire season, so I think there's something to that. Also, they both won an MVP. They both have had crazy good regular season years, and I think that's something also that they will be a good regular season team, but it's all about the playoffs. And I think in the playoffs they haven't shown it yet, but I think them together will. I think they will finally. They're finally at the point where they want to get over the hump, and they said, "Let's just do it together and let's get to the finals together like we did in OKC, but with Houston." So my concerns with this, I think the coaching could be a concern. Mike D'Antoni has been a great regular season head coach. He has not been a good postseason head coach. He can win a couple rounds, but that's all he's been able to do his entire coaching career. It's going to be a challenge when you have two ball dominant players, how you stagger their minutes, how you coach them, and how to let them play. And my other concern would be how much will each player adjust? How much can James Harden adjust, being the guy for so many years, and also Russell Westbrook being the guy for so many years? It's hard for me to believe that James Harden's going to change a ton, being that he's been the guy, and he's not going to want to change that. Russell is coming to his city. Why would James Harden want to change? On the other hand, I think Russell Westbrook is so one-dimensional in my opinion. He's not a good shooter, that's another thing people say. Why would he come to a shooting team when he's not a shooter? So how can he change if he's kind of one-dimensional? I don't see him being the two guard and popping threes when they get kicked to him. So I think James Harden is going to have to change the most for this to work. I think it's possible, and it's going to be fun to see. So hope you like this. Subscribe and like this video if you want more, and we'll see you next time.